Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be back.
This time, we're taking you on a journey
Oh, where to?
to the future of precious metals,
Okay, I'm intrigued.
specifically gold and silver.
Makes sense. Those always seem to be in the news.
We're using a YouTube video. It features financial expert Jim Rickards.
Jim Rickards, he always has such interesting takes.
We're going to unravel his predictions
Yeah.
for gold and silver prices.
By 2025.
You got it. And why these metals are making a comeback
A comeback.
in our digital world.
Now that is something I wouldn't have expected.
Oh, and get this. We'll also uncover some fascinating lessons
Okay, lay it on me.
from Russia's recent financial maneuvers.
Oh, Russia. Always keeping things interesting.
What makes Rickards' perspective so unique?
Well, for starters, he doesn't view gold like your typical commodity.
Not like oil or coffee?
Nope. He sees it as a key player in the global financial system.
Oh, okay.
Especially if we see a major shift.
Towards what?
We'll say gold-backed currencies.
A gold-backed currency. You mean like in the old days?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of hard to wrap my head around how that would work today.
It is a bit of a mind bender.
It really is.
What Rickards does is he calculates what price gold would need to be to back the US dollar.
Instead of just focusing on the usual.
Supply and demand factors.
Okay, I think I'm following you. So it's not just about how many people want to buy gold jewelry,
No.
but how much gold would be needed to support all the US dollars out there.
You got it.
Wow.
He even talks about different backing percentages,
Like
40% or
what
25%,
does that mean, backing percentage?
meaning what portion of the US dollar in circulation would be backed by gold.
Really? So every dollar would be worth a certain amount of gold.
Not every dollar, but a certain percentage of them would be backed by gold.
So if the dollar crashes, you can go redeem it for actual gold.
It's a bit more complicated than that, but the general idea is that the value of the dollar would be tied to a certain amount of gold. Historically, this was actually how things worked.
Oh, wow. So it could be going back to the future.
Maybe.
That's wild. So if Rickards is right, and there's a move back toward this system, how much would gold be worth?
Well, his current calculation puts it at, well, it's a staggering number.
How much?
$23,000 an ounce.
Whoa! $23,000.
Yeah.
That's like winning the lottery if you have gold right now.
It would be quite a windfall.
But I guess that doesn't mean everyone should rush out and buy gold bars, right?
Hold your horses.
Okay.
That $23,000 figure, it's less of a direct price prediction.
What is it then?
It's more about understanding
Understanding what?
what gold could be worth if there's this massive change in the monetary system.
Okay, like a revaluation of the dollar based on gold.
Some experts call it a monetary reset.
A monetary reset.
And get this, Rickards says this number, it keeps going up.
Why is that? Is it because more people are buying gold?
Not exactly. It has to do with the fact that, well, the supply of gold, it's relatively stable. But the amount of money in circulation, thanks to things like quantitative easing.
Quantitative easing?
Yeah.
Is that like when the government prints more money?
It basically means central banks are printing more money.
So they're just making more money?
Essentially, yes.
Out of thin air?
It's a bit more nuanced than that, but yeah, they are increasing the money supply. So if the amount of US dollars keeps growing, but the gold backing remains the same,
what happens?
What do you think happens to the value of the dollar?
Well, I guess it would go down.
Okay.
Kind of like how a rare baseball card becomes less valuable if they suddenly print 1 million more of them.
You got it.
Okay, that makes sense. So more dollars, but the same amount of gold, so each dollar is worth less gold.
Exactly. And as the value of the dollar decreases, the price of gold in relation to the dollar would need to increase to maintain that backing percentage.
So it's like a seesaw. One goes up, the other goes down.
It's supply and demand, but on a massive global scale.
This is fascinating. Okay, so we've talked about gold, but what about silver? It seems like it's always playing second fiddle.
Silver is, well, it's a bit of a different beast.
How so?
Unlike gold, which is mainly seen as a monetary asset,
Right.
silver has this double life.
Double life?
As an industrial metal.
You mean like it's used to make stuff?
Exactly.
What kind of stuff?
Think electronics, solar panels, even medical equipment.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize silver was used in so many things.
It's incredibly versatile.
Uh-huh.
So silver's price, it's influenced not just by its potential role in a currency reset,
But also by
but also by the demand for these industrial applications.
Oh, I see.
This can make things, well, a little tricky.
In what way?
For example, if there's a global recession, the demand for things like new gadgets,
It would go down.
it might plummet, which could pull down the price of silver,
Even if.
gold is doing well.
So it's not always a one-to-one relationship.
Not always, no.
But Rickards did say something. About $10,000 gold is the world of $100 silver.
Right.
What did he mean by that?
He's suggesting that even with these ups and downs, silver tends to follow gold's trajectory in the long run.
So for someone thinking about investing in precious metals,
Yes,
it's less about trying to time the market perfectly
exactly.
and more about understanding the potential of both metals in a world where the financial landscape is constantly shifting.
That's a great way to put it. It's about the bigger picture, not just short-term gains.
So it's not just about betting on one horse, but understanding the whole racetrack.
Precisely. And this is where Rickards gets even more interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
He argues that in this increasingly digital world, we need to think beyond just gold and silver.
Beyond gold and silver.
And diversify our investment.
Beyond just digital assets.
Yeah.
What do you mean, beyond digital assets?
Yeah.
Most people are just thinking about stocks and crypto these days.
Right. But Rickards sees a growing risk in the digital realm.
Like what?
Things like automation taking away jobs, AI making unpredictable decisions, or even cyber attacks.
Cyber attacks?
That could wipe out your entire portfolio with a few keystrokes.
Oh, wow.
He's advocating for what he calls safe havens.
Safe havens, what are those?
Assets you physically own and control.
Is he talking about things like gold bars hidden under your mattress?
Well, maybe not that extreme, but you're on the right track. He's suggesting tangible assets, like gold, silver, of course, but also things like fine art, land, and even natural resources.
So things you can actually touch and hold.
Exactly.
These are things that no matter what's happening in the digital world or the financial markets, they have value.
They have inherent value, yes.
So we're talking about going back to basics, owning a piece of the real world.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's not as far-fetched as it sounds.
Is there an example of this?
Remember what happened when Western countries imposed sanctions on Russia?
They froze all their assets. Right?
They froze hundreds of billions of dollars
Yeah.
of Russia's digital assets.
Over $300 billion, if I remember correctly.
You have a good memory.
Talk about a financial rug pull.
Right. But here's the kicker.
What's that?
Russia had cleverly converted a quarter of its reserves into physical gold held within its own borders.
Wait, so they basically had a backup plan in gold.
Exactly.
And did it work?
It paid off big time.
Oh, so.
While they couldn't access their frozen digital assets, their gold holdings,
Yeah.
they were completely untouched and actually went up in value.
Wow. That's a real-life example of what Rickards is talking about.
It really is.
So owning tangible assets, it could be a way to protect yourself from unexpected events like that.
It's definitely food for thought, isn't it?
It is. This is a lot to process. It's almost like we're peering into a crystal ball and seeing a very different financial future.
It is pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
But how does this apply to someone like me or our listeners?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
How do we take these big ideas and make them relevant to our own lives?
That's a great question. And a perfect segue to our next discussion.
Oh, what are we diving into next?
We'll unpack what this all means for you, how to navigate this changing financial landscape, and what steps you can take to ensure your financial security in the years to come.
Okay, I'm ready to keep diving.
Let's do it.
Okay, so gold could hit $23,000 an ounce. And silver has a double life.
It does.
And we can learn from Russia's gold stash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to see how these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
But how does this actually affect our listeners?
That's the key question, isn't it? We've gone deep into Rickards' analysis.
Yeah.
But what does it mean for someone listening right now?
Well, it feels like, we're talking about potential shifts in the global financial system.
Yeah.
AI taking over,
Yes.
sanctions, tangible versus digital assets.
Right.
It's a lot. Where do we even begin to apply this to our own lives?
Well, the takeaway is that the financial systems that we rely on, they might be more fragile than we realize.
Okay.
Whether it's automation, cyber attacks, geopolitical tensions, or even just the sheer amount of money.
The sheer amount of money, yeah.
Being printed. The rules of the game that could change.
Drastically.
Drastic.
And that's where this idea of
Yeah.
having a plan B with assets outside the system, things you actually own, it starts to make sense.
It does.
Like if the digital world
Yeah.
goes haywire, you still have something tangible to fall back on.
Exactly. Gold, silver, fine art, land. It can't be hacked.
Can't be deleted.
Deleted. Or frozen by a government.
Frozen by a government. Wow.
It's about having a safety net
Ian.
in a world that's increasingly unpredictable.
Okay, so that makes sense. But I think a lot of people, they hear gold and they think,
They think.
oh, that's for rich people.
Right.
Or it's too complicated.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be.
That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
You don't need to buy a vault full of gold bars.
Right.
Even a small allocation can make a difference
In
a diversified portfolio. It's about finding what works for you
Right.
and your risk tolerance.
Rickards mentioned around 10%.
Yeah.
But like to adjust based on your comfort level.
Precisely. And remember, silver.
Yeah.
It's often more accessible.
More accessible.
For
Okay.
smaller investors.
Yeah, okay.
It's less expensive
Less expensive than gold.
per ounce than gold.
Okay.
And it has that dual nature.
Right. Being both monetary and industrial.
Exactly.
Okay, so gold, silver. You also mentioned fine art, land, natural resources.
She did.
But those seem pretty out of reach.
For most people.
For most people, yeah.
It can be. But the principle is the same. Owning something real.
With
Inherent value.
right.
Now, not everyone can afford a Picasso
Right.
or a vineyard.
No.
But there are more accessible ways to invest in those asset classes.
Like what?
For example, there are things called REITs,
REITs, what are those?
real estate investment trusts. Okay.
They let you invest in a diversified portfolio of properties
Without,
without buying an entire building yourself.
so you can get exposure to real estate without needing millions of dollars.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there are companies
Yeah,
that specialize in natural resources, like timber or mining.
I see.
The key is, do your research and understand the risks and rewards before investing in anything.
So this whole conversation, it's a reminder that we need to be
Yeah,
proactive about our finances.
absolutely.
Especially, with so much
Yeah.
changing so quickly.
We're not saying everyone needs to become a doomsday prepper,
Right.
but it's about acknowledging the potential risks
Yeah.
and taking steps to mitigate them.
And, the Russian example really drives that point home.
It does. It's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And it's not just about geopolitical risks, but the increasing digitization of our lives.
And the vulnerabilities that come with that.
Exactly.
Like, what if a massive cyber attack?
Cripples the entire financial system.
It could happen.
Or what if AI? It starts making decisions about our money
Yeah.
that we don't understand or agree with.
These are valid concerns.
So they are.
We can't predict the future, but we can prepare for different scenarios.
Right.
Diversifying beyond the digital realm, considering tangible assets, being informed about potential risks. It's all part of being financially resilient.
So it's like building a stronger foundation for your financial house.
Exactly. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge and taking control of your financial well-being.
Yeah.
The financial system is constantly evolving.
Right.
And what worked in the past might not work in the future.
So we need to be adaptable, open to new ideas.
Yes.
And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of gold and silver could be part of that.
It's definitely worth considering. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about recognizing that true wealth, it isn't just about the numbers on a screen.
Right.
It's about having a portfolio that reflects your values, goals, and understanding of the world around you.
So it's not just about chasing the highest returns, but creating a sense of security and peace of mind.
Precisely. It's about being prepared, not panicked, informed, not overwhelmed. It's about taking control of your financial destiny.
That's a powerful message. We've covered so much ground today with Jim Rickards' insights.
We have.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought, something to really chew on.
I'm all ears. What's the final nugget of wisdom for our audience? Considering the increasing digitization of our financial systems, what steps can you take to ensure your financial resilience and security in the years to come?
That's a great question to ponder. It's almost like a call to action for our listeners.
It is, because just knowing this stuff, it isn't enough.
Right.
We've explored some complex ideas today.
Yeah, we have.
But ultimately, it's about giving you the tools to make smart decisions about your own financial future.
So let's recap. We learned about Jim Rickards' unique way of valuing gold,
Right.
the surprising ways that silver is used,
Yeah.
and how Russia used gold
To protect itself.
to protect itself from those sanctions.
It's a fascinating case study.
It is. We've also talked about, the potential downsides of a purely digital financial system
Right.
and how owning tangible assets, they can, act as a hedge against those risks.
Exactly. It's about diversification.
And most importantly, I think we've talked about the need to be adaptable,
Right.
proactive, and informed
In a world that's constantly changing.
in a world that's constantly changing. Yeah,
It's a lot to keep up with.
it is. It is.
But I hope this deep dive, it's given you some valuable insights
I think it has.
and maybe even sparked some new ideas about, about how to approach your own financial journey.
Absolutely. And remember, there's always more to learn.
There is.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep seeking out different perspectives.
Because in the world of finance. Yeah.
Knowledge really is power.
Well said. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep